meeting is now called to order. Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer, please. Good evening, our dear Heavenly Father. We thank you for this day, this moment, and this hour. We ask, Heavenly Father, that you would bless us and help us to conduct the business for the city and help us to conduct it in a decent and orderly manner and fashion. And we'll forever give your name the glory, honor, for it's in your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray, and we all say amen. Amen. Let us stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our council meeting. This is a special meeting to address subject matters, budget, audit, and declare items surplus, and then we're going to enter into executive session. So, what we have before us, council, is the proposed budget. And I have here with the regional commissioner, Mr. Daniel Thomas, so would you please calm down?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see you all again.
We have a podium, please.
Oh, okay.
And you'll just stand right there and lift it up as according to your specifications.
That'll work. I appreciate that. I think you do have before you the budget. That is the mayor's proposed budget. She reached out to us beginning part of last week and with some assistance in us helping to transcribe one. I'd be happy to just briefly walk you through what this is, and you certainly, if you have any questions now, be happy to field those. Matt Garvin from our office is also here, who is integral in kind of putting this to paper. If you'd like to take some time to ruminate over it, that's certainly fine as well. Always available for questions. Certainly, this is kind of the first stab of maybe a few along the way. But if you look at that first page there, on page number 1.
Daniel, could I please interject something? Sure. I know I sent this memo to you last week, but in lieu of that, if you'll just take a brief moment and look over there, what I had proposed to go in there, there was I've decided not to go with that just yet.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like as far as the proposal goes, there will be some additional changes to what is down here. For
So you get to it.
Probably gonna be a lot of changes. This is the first we've seen it, and my department and a lot of other ones probably didn't have a lot of time to put much interjection into any of this, you know. I hadn't give any numbers that I'd like to see put in it, so I'm just letting you know up front, you know, that several things.
Certainly, and you know, from our perspective, I think we understood that. This was honestly, it was only even, you know, kind of finalized in the Friday, and it's a pretty quick turnaround. And obviously, as far as any formal adoption, we're a ways away from that. We haven't had the public hearing, haven't done the advertisement, kind of a lot of steps away. But I think this is kind of the first stab. And so, you know, we can go ahead and talk through some. If you see some issues, feel free to note them and to you know, get back with us on that. I'd be happy to do that. If you notice,
Also, let me, before you proceed to go further, just to add that, you know, we just completed the audit. So with this budget, we're working on all of this to say to our council, and I think that they, as a matter of fact, I know that they're well aware that with what we've been going over, and the mayor has looked over this budget, and this is coming from the mayor as what I'm proposing to the council. So this will be to give them the opportunity to look at it, and then if they see fit to maybe make some adjustments, then I stand open and
yes, certainly, we're more the transcribers of it, the writers, as opposed to anything else. But we'd like to go ahead and point your attention to the first page. You see there's a summary of both the revenues and expenditures. You'll see the different columns that we have there, one being the budget for FY 2014, one being the actual for 2014, the variance column, the budget for 2015, the actual for 2015, and then the proposed 2016. So these would be the things that she asked us to specifically take a look at. It wasn't each line item, so where there were, we had our own methodology for the different numbers that we came up with. And I'll point out a few of those. Sometimes they ended up being an average of past years, expenses. So you will see total revenue anticipated of 1,637, or 1 million rather, 637,161. Really, that was more on our end, using what is the projected millage rate, the current tax digest, and then a couple of other issues. Specifically reached out to some folks, including some folks over at Wilkinson County, to get the excise tax number. And you'll see the total expenditures of 1,749,794, and for each one of most of these, it was that average of past years. And then in certain situations, based upon the memo that the mayor sent us, we made specific changes to certain line items that I will point out specifically in just a second. If you pull up over to page 2, really the outline of the revenue portion of the budget. As I mentioned before, things like property taxes, motor vehicle taxes, mobile home tax down there, those line items were taken from the current ad that was run compared to the proposed millage rate, and then also comparing that to the digest. As you can see, as compared to previous years, those have gone down. The digest did shrink quite a bit, particularly in the areas of motor vehicle tax, which has kind of been a theme that we've seen, and then also even just in the residential property taxes. Most of the other each of these revenue sources was taken from an average of past few years actual. You will notice the excise tax. We reached out specifically to Wilkinson County to try to get a closer hit on that number. That number is projected to go up due to the percent of that tax going up from 75% to 100% on that 2/3 tax between really at the beginning of this next calendar year. So that's kind of the general summary. As you can see, it continues over onto page 3 as well. Certainly, if you have any questions related to that, I'll be happy to. And if I'm stuck on anything, I'll certainly refer to Matt Garvin, who's here with me. All right. Moving fairly quickly on to page 4 of 11. We do have some pretty specific changes here, or kind of special additions rather. Here under, which it looks like actually something that will likely change. We did have a salary change on our version of the budget for city council and mayor. That will no longer be accurate based upon the change I just received from the mayor. So that will change. You will see an increase in employee education for both the mayor and city council as well. $6,000 total, but an increase of 4 under city council and 2 under the mayor. Under financial administration, you will see a salary total there, $98,274. That was an increase from last year's projected budget of $68,563. And the memo I have from the mayor that indicates the hiring of a treasurer position at a salary of $32,000. For each one of the other salaries.
Say that again. Say that again, please.
As well as negotiable.
Right. So
Hey, what kind of a position?
the position listed in the memo is treasurer.
A new position?
As recommended by the auditor.
We have clerk treasurer already.
Yes, we do, but as it was stated in the finale of the auditor's report.
We'll talk about it
would be,
later.
advantageous for us.
All right.
Which is negotiable also from 32 plus.
Yeah, we were going specifically on the 32 as an estimate of what you might be shooting for. So it sounds like a decision you all be working out amongst yourselves there. But certainly at the end of that, we'll adjust the numbers accordingly. Under judgments and damage claims, it's a new line item per the memo provided by the mayor. And and that is in the amount of $50,000. All right, moving on to page 5. You have two new line items on page 5, still in financial administration as well. The last two would be contractual services, which we had in the amount of $30,000 per the memo received, and then a security system valued at $17,400, also recognized in that memo.
Which we don't have.
All right, so you see a total there under financial administration of $358,656, and then total under general government there $495,475.
Could you explain contractual services?
Well, I received a memo that said prefer to up that as a line there, but that's maybe the mayor could provide a little bit more guidance on what exactly those contractual services would be.
Exactly. Anytime there's, according to the charter, contracts that need to be signed and there's not enough, expenses to cover, well, we need to have, that set aside.
That's not contractual services. If you got $30,000 set aside for contractual services, you
Well,
got
with
to have
all
a
of these-
job or a title, and it has to be approved by council first.
That too, but along with this, once again, this is the proposed coming from the mayor, and with all of these, issues of, lawsuits coming up, we need, money in place. That's coming from the mayor, so,
All right, moving on to the municipal court. As with all the salaries really throughout the whole thing, beyond obviously that proposed new position of treasurer, we got the direct salary list from the city clerk and utilized that. You'll see under municipal court, the total proposed budget of $13,010. Public safety, same thing, salaries were taken from that current list of salaries, and then the rest of the expenses there were averaged over the past few years. Certainly, if you see specific changes, specific issues that come up with that, be happy to make some more specific changes. Those were our, best guesses, not knowing the specific policy direction of council going forward into the new fiscal year.
Did you put together any kind of a proposed raise for our employees, either like a 1 or 2%?
I've already submitted that to him with that, he has
Yeah,
that.
this budget doesn't reflect that. The memo that the mayor submitted to me didn't initially have that, but this new one that she submitted to me does. It's something that we'd have to take back to the office and take a look at. So that would change not only salary numbers, but also the benefits numbers on each one of those. And so we'll be needing to go back through those and make the specific changes.
So with that being said, on that, I've included that, that there'll be a 2%, cost of living adjustment increase, so you might wanna find out where, look at that. and see what that is.
Sure, yeah.
As well as, and I've included, a bonus with that, so.
Right, and this does include the bonus. The cost of living is something that would not include that. All right, so looking at total police proposed budget of $756,734. If you look down under the fire department, very similar. Obviously, no salaries over there, volunteer, but do have the other specific numbers there for a total fire budget of $9,800, down a little bit. So do pay attention to that.
So I wanted to ask, the chief with that, as well as the education, do you all not go to training? We can consider,
We do, but a lot of our
is that a
training,
grant or something
a lot
that,
of it is covered under our state. We have a tax that goes on all of the fines, have the add-on, and the state runs a fund, and if we go to Forsyth for our training, it's pretty much free for us to go up there.
because I didn't understand why, but I just wanted to find out from you.
All right, very good. Moving on to animal control, there we have a total animal control budget of $4,000, which is pretty close to what the past year has been.
And that's something we'll need to consider, too, looking into, because my understanding, we still have stray dogs running around, and so, you know, with that, being under animal control, we've got to definitely get something in place.
And just something I'm not sure I talked about in the very beginning, you'll see the fiscal year 2015 actual, that was actual as through the middle of last week or so. So we're actually very, very close to the end of the fiscal year. And so those numbers are probably not too dissimilar to what the final will be for that. All right, so you're looking at a total public safety budget of $770,534. And then moving on to public works. See there, moving on to page 8 there. Page 8. Total there of $65,715. That's specifically under the administration related to public works. Then we have the highways and streets. Once again, the salary is taken in a very similar way. We'll change slightly with the 2% cost of living adjustment that was mentioned. But you know, if you're looking at page 9, the total under there of $233,325. Solid waste collection has been fairly steady over the past few years. It's been an expense to the city of around $90,000. So that's the number that we have there. For total for public works being $389,040. And then we have below there mosquito control. And then once again, similar to last year, right around the 10,000 mark with $10,334. And then moving down to recreation, which is one I believe we talked pretty extensively about last time. We have a proposed budget of $5,600 based upon looking at kind of past year's actual. Then moving to pages 9 and 10, you have the parks section. Once again, kind of same methodology was used, and so total parks of $38,828 for a total culture and recreation of $44,428. Under housing and development, you'll see there $8,478. And then under planning and zoning, we did not have anything in the proposed budget, and so please do pay attention to that. That's something that needs to change.
Yes.
Something we'd be happy to remark and make that mark and alter that as well. The same under economic development. We did budget a little bit for it in fiscal year 15. Didn't have any actual in 15, but if we need to go ahead and keep some of that budgeted for the just in case, which I believe is what was done last time, certainly happy to make that change as well. Nothing under tourism, and then so for a total housing and development of $8,478. And then you see debt service below there for the fire truck lease of $18,495, which has been a payment on that, and total debt service of that amount. So for total expenditures, $1,749,794. So there's the mayor's proposed general fund budget. As I mentioned before, be happy to field some questions now. Certainly, I understand this is the first time, really any of you have gotten a chance to take a look at it. And what I think is the mayor's intention of this being kind of the first stab. So please do mark it up, talk to us, think about it, and we'll be happy to kind of make those changes to where we can work towards something that we can get some consensus on.
You have got the, budget for 2014 and actual and stuff. On the revenue, you did not include the $400,000 anywhere that we took out of the One Georgia Fund and put in the budget. That would have kicked those numbers up if you had put that number in there. That took place, this year in 2014.
Yes, and I believe, and my understanding is, and Matt, feel free to correct me on this, but since that was those were funds currently under city possession, they would not have been listed specifically as a revenue there because there wasn't new funds received by the city.
That's correct. This is, you know, that's money that you already had, that's not really revenue coming in, so, I mean, it's, you're utilizing it to, you know, cover expenses, but it's not really, it wouldn't, doesn't really get reflected in your budget.
Okay. Where would you account for it at, though? I mean, at some point in time, how would that show up?
Well, the only place it really shows up is just as, you know, is where it's decreasing your fund balance and whatnot. It doesn't really show up on your income statement at all, really.
It does show that net change in fund balance down at the bottom of that summary page as, you know, $365,243. So I think that's kind of where that would be reflected.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions, council, or other than that?
What about capital expenditures? We
Well-
usually have those, and we, you know, have that as a presentation that comes out of SPOS, and you have to designate them now. As we go into this budget, we have to have those numbers and figures, you know.
Absolutely, and that's something that we talked about on the way in here. We're gonna have to take a look at that. I'm sure you guys will want a water fund budget as well, which is something we're working on kind of a tightish type frame, you know, between Monday and now. So we have not gotten a chance to collect some of those. So certainly reach out to Tawana and to the department heads and see what, and to you all as well, and see what some of those capital outlays will be for this upcoming year. What's planned.
What is your time frame now moving forward from now to when it can be advertised? You have to set up all these meetings, you have to get all the numbers right first, you know, so you'll have to come back to us again first.
Well, and I, you know, and I think that's why maybe I'm a little bit hesitant to put a very specific time frame on it, because I want to make sure we get the numbers right and that we have something that can go through the process. You know, after that, the process will be fairly, you know, quick, and as far as the advertising of the budget and the holding of the public hearing, it's not too cumbersome there, but certainly given kind of the process that was last year, we know that it may take a little bit of time. So we're really, you know, whenever you're ready to see us next, we'll be ready with the materials and the changes that you all have for us.
So with what the mayor just added, or whatever she changed, you think by Monday, because we have a council meeting on Monday, do you have anything in place?
We could certainly make those changes and whatever other changes, you know, mayor and council would like by that time. You know, it's really kind of, I guess, a mayor and council decision at this point.
Yes.
If really they think they're getting to a draft, we'd rather think they're getting to a draft that is in some way adoptable in order to go ahead and advertise. We can't advertise for the public hearing between now and Monday, just giving the paper schedule and doing all those kinds of things. To be honest, I think that would be a little ambitious at this point. You know, we could get you a form for next Monday to discuss again, if that would give you a week to look through it, make comments, give us some feedback, then certainly we'll be available to do that.
That sounds logical. Are y'all with that?
I'm not sure we'll have the capital by then. We've got requests in, but they haven't been turned in. It takes a while to get up quotes. We've
Okay.
been working on that about 2 weeks now. I haven't got them all back yet. But we certainly like, several things we'd like to have.
Okay. Well, we'll be in touch, and if we can't have it by then, certainly there will be, you know, more other council meetings beyond that, you know, another one there in October as well. So, yeah, we're obviously at your pleasure, so please, you know, if you need us, call us.
So as soon as the clerk gets all that information, she'll let me know, and we'll move from there.
That will work for us.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Very good.
Okay, thank you so much. Our next order of business, is the audit for 2014-15. So would you please come, Mr. Greer?
Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Yes.
My name is Mitch Greer, I'm with Malden and Jenkins. I'll try to be brief, but just wanted to give you an update on the September 30th, 2014 audit. At this time, the annual financial report, our management letter, and our auditor's discussion and analysis, as we call it, have all been finalized. All the appropriate filings with the state have been done. So from our end and our perspective, the September 30th, 2014 audit is complete and finalized. I did bring two things with me. If you'll remember back in August, I think the 17th, Miller Edwards from our office presented. Everything he presented that day was in draft form. I brought with me today finalized documents of our management letter and the auditor's discussion and analysis. And I believe Mark Hardison has provided the annual financial report. But I did want to point out that nothing from those draft forms has changed. Everything that was presented that night is reflected in the final report. So I didn't have anything specific to go over other than to let you know that everything's been completed, filed, and finalized. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But other than that, September 30, 2014 is behind us.
Let me ask you this, because this has anything to do with that letter that you received?
Let's just complete this, just remember, we're gonna do that, not the one we're gonna do sign, another one completed.
What is that? The one that came in?
It's just a financial report we do every year. Mark Hardison's office doing that for us.
So
I left it for you to sign today, I don't know if you went by the office for, when I left to come to council meeting, you just said they waiting on me to sign.
Okay, but that would not hinder. Okay, so, with the next audit, we know that we are what? Ready to begin and to start the next audit, so council, we utilize, the services of Malden and Jenkins, and do you have the engagement letter to engage with us today?
I don't have a specific engagement letter with me. I apologize, I didn't realize that we needed one, but we can get one as soon as we can and whenever you'd like it. But I don't have one with me tonight.
So I don't think with everything that we've had transpire in the previous year that we would have any problems. Do you all counsel, would that be a problem, retaining, Malden and Jenkins services? Continue the audit for the,
Do you think it'd be wise for us to try to advertise again for bids? We did the first time.
I see no, as far as I'm concerned, you all, I'm pretty much satisfied with, their services. So I see no need to,
I'm just asking because that's, standard procedure, to ask. And I'm just asking, that's all.
of course, I've not seen it in the written in stone, but, I'm open, to council. So the mere fact of the matter is that, you all did a, very fine job, so council, so that they will know. I'd like to think that we could go ahead and make a decision in agreement tonight to retain them as a, and besides, if you go and get somebody else that might charge us an arm and a leg, these people, the longer you stay with them, I think you do give us a discount or a certain percentage off,
Well, yeah, and the kind of a rough estimate would be probably about 50% of what was charged this year. For the 2014 audit, obviously it was our first year doing the audit. There's a lot of first year costs that go into it that we don't necessarily have going forward. We have a pretty strong understanding of who does what, how things work. So a rough estimate would be about 50% of what was charged.
So it just make good sense to, say this.
I think we still need to put the letter of engagement.
I didn't come prepared to make that decision tonight. I'd like for us to table any decision that's made on any auditor that's going to be hired until after our year starts next month.
Well,
I'll make that a motion.
motion has been made in second, all in favor. To wait on the engagement letter.
Go ahead.
The engagement, is that what you were saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sounds good. So if y'all will get
Get
us
it to you as soon as we can.
All right, thank you so much.
I didn't get a complete vote, who all voted yes? Everybody?
I think, everybody, roll call, sorry.
Fred said he didn't
Everybody
vote.
said,
Aye. Aye.
all right, the ayes have it, so no opposed. So you all get us the
We
engagement.
we will. All right,
Thank
thank you.
The next is to declare item surplus, so I'm gonna, you explain that.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest that we table that because of the restraining order on items at City Hall and their hard drives in some of these computers.
What all items do we have? Could we have a list or,
Yeah, I
I mean,
can
I
pass
hadn't
it
heard what the items were myself.
out. Several computers and
Cause
a
I don't
fax
have that.
machine.
Yes, ma'am.
and Give something back to the judge,
May
Is
I
that the
ask,
one with the garbage and trash and all that too?
because the hard drives are on the computers.
may I ask the police
Would you
if I
pass
may?
out? She's gonna pass each one of them.
Okay, could I ask the police, do you have any surplus cars or anything, equipment or anything that we're gonna need to include in it so we can do it all at one time? or
I
not?
don't have any vehicles included in with it.
So the police, what about the, superintendent of, public works?
I have, I know at least one pickup truck and one dump truck.
So if you would get those items listed and get it to the clerk, please, sir. So we'll take that to one.
I'll go
I
through
guess until
that.
the judge relieves the order.
I make a motion that we table the, item about the surplus equipment right now.
Motion has been made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, starting with, Mr. Councilman Denson?
Second.
No, he made the motion and he seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah, ayes have it, no nays. All right, now we'll have a, now enter an executive session. Have a motion that we now enter into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
Motion has been made in second. Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now, Mr. Harrison, I'm sorry. I thought. We know that.
I think you'll have to wait now. I mean, legally, we've already voted to go into executive session at this time.
Exactly, I understand. Thank you.